Hey, and welcome to this episode of Reestablishment. I'm your host, as always, Bodie DeAndre. What a great day to have you with us. We got some exciting things to talk to you about. I want to open with a thought. I normally don't do this on a podcast, but I had this thought. Those of you that are Christians or you read a Bible, and maybe you've seen the story where Jesus fed 5,000 people miraculously. And that didn't include the women and children. Back then, they only counted the men. And Jesus fed the 5,000 with 5 little loaves of bread and 2 fishes. But have you ever thought, what if Jesus did that whole miracle by himself? How long would it have taken him to go around and physically feed each and every person by himself? If he would have done that, he would have gone well into the night and the next morning, and the miracle would have been missed because people wouldn't have waited around and they would have left the scene. So many times, God uses you and I to work with him. God is the miracle worker. Jesus does the wonders, but he needs us to help. And with those 12 disciples and some other ushers, not only was everybody completely filled to capacity, but they were able to take up 12 baskets left over. So a lot of times I think that we either just have God do it on his own, or we want God to do it for us instead of really partnering with him. He is still the miracle worker, but if that event would have just been done by Jesus without the help of his disciples, it wouldn't have been the same. And so today, we're asking you to listen to this, watch this podcast. If you see us on video, hopefully you'll see some of the other ones. But we have a special guest today, and his name is Ed Raine with Food for the Poor, a great organization. And Ed, welcome. So glad you're with us today.
Thank you so much, Bodie.
What do you think about that?
Well, I understand why you led with that.
Yeah,
because
but that's neat that God showed me that.
It really is, because we as one organization can only multiply the gifts from everyone else. We can't do it on our own, and that goes to serving literally, or even just thinking about the expertise that's required to do it the right way. Right, the stewardship part of doing the right things right.
So 2024 was an incredible year all across the globe. Everything from wars to famines to hurricanes to tsunamis to flash floods, earthquakes. I mean, it was crazy around the globe. And so, we like to think of, and I was talking to somebody a little bit ago, that after you have an incident, you have the rescuers are the heroes, right? They swoop in and they rescue. And then it's the recovery. And that's a difficult part, but the restoration part, that long term, is the part that's really difficult. And I want to start with maybe being the hero a little bit and about the recovery, because a lot of times your organization comes in right away. Even a lot of times you will beat government groups in these zones with food and aid and help for folks, either where government or other people can't go, or you get there before them. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because for me personally, in my background in life, I like to be the first guy in. I like to do that's just an amazing feeling, and it really is a feel-good thing to do that. And so I want you to tell us about how you do that, how your organization is set up, and then we want to talk about the long haul. What does that look like? And really, we can be more of a shining light in the restoration part than we can in the beginning. So tell us a little bit about how you get your goods to be able to meet them out.
Well, the first thing, you got to think about it in advance, right? You have to plan. So we have, in fact, I'm really quite proud of this. Over the last few years, really tuned up our game so that we can be really present day one, not day 30. Right. So the needs are immediate, and one way we do this is by pre-staging kits, hygiene kits, food kits, cleaning kits, in about 5 of the countries that we know that we typically have some kind of natural disaster each year. So those kits can be deployed immediately, and then we can follow up. We shift something like 4,000 containers a year. So we're a large logistics and distribution company. So we can keep moving things in. So we can get more things there on day 30. But you need immediate response. You also need to have alliances with all the local partners and that form the network
Yes.
of those first response. And one of the things that I'm sure we'll be really getting the chance to talk about here is that you never do it alone. And if you
Right.
think you're doing it alone, you're crazy, because no one's going to want to work with you if you're just saying, hey, listen, leave it to me, because they know it's not possible to go in that way. You've got a
Yes.
partner, and you got to be, you've got to make sure you're not duplicating. You've got to, but as I said at the beginning, you've got to start with the plan. What is it that you're going to do? Have those sort of tabletop exercises to know how you're going to do it. So that's what happens.
So how long have you been at the helm here?
Well, for 5 years I've been leading.
5 years?
I had the privilege of leading, and then I've been there 7 years. So
Yeah. So how do you get these pre-positioned containers? So when I first heard about your organization, I was told the massive quantities that you do have pre-staged all over, and I said, how is that even? Not how is it possible? How is it sustainable? Because not only do you have to put that stuff there, you have to keep it there. You have to hold it there until it's time to actually deploy it.
yeah. Well, the great thing is in the 15 countries we work in, we have partners everywhere. And so each of them have to have a warehouse.
Right.
And so the great thing about these type of goods that we're talking about is that, okay, yes, we hold them for the emergency, but once the season of emergencies, the hurricane season, for example, is over, well, these are all useful goods. They don't perish, so they can be distributed. So you clear out everything.
Okay.
So we do not, if you look at the cycle, nothing is wasted. So, but we have learned, and I'm going to say the hard way, that if you do not have pre-positioned goods, you cannot be a player.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times maybe the goods are okay, at least in my experience. I can get the goods. It's the logistics. And it's more than just having the pre-plan. It's what happens now when I can't get diesel fuel, or my supplier that I have a contract with can't get me the diesel fuel, or I can't get the volunteers, or my partner is so affected that I can't, they're not useful. How do you absorb those?
Yeah. Well, the logistics are, as you say, a huge part of this. So again, I think it's about, so each of the 15 countries, we have the ability to clear goods. So just
Right.
the normal, clearance is there. The local transportation, we've got the network, we've got the relationships. Everything is already in place. So think of it this way: an emergency just is an accelerator, a multiplier of pushing more volume through
Right.
an existing network. So you cannot start to establish things on the day of an emergency.
Correct.
It's all got to be there. So that's basically how it works.
Now, what is? Do you personally go to all these different locations? Do you have a war room, for lack of a better term, that you kind of keep everything going, and how does that look?
So I'll answer the first one. So I travel a lot. So
Yeah.
I have been to, for example, I will probably have gone to Honduras 5 times this year.
Yeah.
I will have been to Guatemala twice, and still going to get a trip into Colombia. And that's not including all the U.S. travel or meeting
Right.
donors and so forth. But yes, I want to see it firsthand. I want to make sure I have relationships with these. These are partnerships that we're dealing with
Right.
for the most part. So you got to manage those relationships. The war room idea, yes. I mean, we actually have a small group, the disaster response team, and they have master's degrees in this work. I mean, the same thing that FEMA and the state emergency management, we have those people have the same qualifications, and they actually we participated in some simulations of where graduate students are being trained, and we are the NGO, the non-governmental, who is actually facilitating the experience
Nice.
because we know what to do. So this doesn't happen overnight. We've been working hard for the last 5 years to build this capability up.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when you go out and you distribute this stuff, what makes you different than some of the other organizations? Not putting anybody down, but you guys are unique. And in your uniqueness, what does that look like?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to emergency goods, we're probably all giving more or less the same sorts of things.
Right.
I think it's when you look at the whole spectrum. So especially, we think of emergencies as like the first 60 days. And then you got to figure out, okay, that area needs to be stabilized. What do they need? And if you're dealing like we do with the poorest of the poor, you very quickly get to the issues of housing, of access to clean water, to medicines, healthcare generally, and of course, once you really start getting involved in these communities, you know they need much more. They need education. They need the ability to generate income. So with this is where this long-term development, and this is where, I think this is where the real excitement comes, because once you've saved someone's life in the emergency situation, you can feel good. But, but you haven't really changed. You've only just stabilized what they had.
Correct.
What we're trying to do is really transform a life. And we used to say, well, we'll transform one life at a time, or one family at a time. But now we're thinking a little bigger. So the scale part of this is trying to do it at the community level as much as possible. And what that allows us to do, we have 10 program areas that include everything from food to water to healthcare, education, income generating activities, creating jobs. All of these things need to be done. That when someone's suffering, they need all these things.
Right.
They don't just need food or water. So we can do a lot of these things. We certainly know what the whole design of the solution should look like. And we can partner with others to plug into what we call a sort of platform where we're really addressing all the multiple dimensions of poverty. This is what we do that's uniquely different. I don't think there's another organization, certainly in Latin America and the Caribbean, who does this.
Right.
And what it really allows us is the humility to learn, because you can't pretend to do all of this.
No.
To the level of expertise that someone who's giving you their donation wants to see. What we can give is good program design, good baseline assessments, monitoring and evaluation over time, and the confidence that we're managing these partner relationships so that everybody who is plugging into this platform does their best work. No one's duplicating. Remember, that's an issue. You don't want all to be doing the same thing. Right. That's a waste of money. So, but there's a grand plan, and most importantly, we're working at the community level as much as possible so that we can find those local leaders. We can empower them, help them, build up so that they can truly have this multiplier effect. I go into communities and we may have 400 homes, 400 families. There's thousands of people. You multiply it by, and you see local leadership taking root. The best example I talk about all the time is a welding shop that we just set up as an income generating thing. And when I went there the first time, and they were doing gates for someone's residence. That's not very exciting. And remember, we build thousands of homes a year. We need furniture. So I said, can we do bunk beds? And that's what we did. We then got the welding shop to do the framework, and then we could source mattresses locally rather than importing beds. So that solved another problem that we're actually helping the local community, the local economy. That welding shop, 3 months was what it took 3 months to get off of our sort of payroll, as it were. We gave them the raw goods to start with. After that, they were on their own. This is now 2 years ago. We're buying all of their bunk beds for the houses we build, but they're selling because it solves not only our need to put beds in the houses, but think about if the average family's got 4 to 6 kids, and they got one room to put the kids, all in one bed is not a good thing, right? So this solves a social problem as well, and that's what I love to see when what we are designing not only meets their practical need, but solves a social need. That we're talking about people's dignity, humanity. You've got to deal with it.
You know what's really striking to me as I'm listening to you is a lot of people come on the podcast and they're great people and they do great things, but I really feel the passion as you're talking about. So I got to ask you, how did you get into this? What did you do before 7 years ago?
Yeah, well, I'm a corporate guy, right?
Okay.
I spent 30 years. And most of it was sort of the organizational development. So certainly the last 20 years of corporate life, I spent thinking about how do you scale an organization? How do you get it to a level of organizational performance globally? These were global for-profit organizations and in the high-tech space. So it was heavy mergers and acquisitions.
So this for you is the Super Bowl of what you were preparing for before.
I wasted nothing.
Right.
I took everything I'd learned in my career.
But this is more than a corporation. To you,
this is. If I could have done this all my life, I would have been happy. But I needed those first 30 years to prepare me.
Sure, and so did the organization. So I have a question. Those folks that are listening and watching us today, and they're hearing us and maybe have experienced issues in their communities, or they are refugees, immigrants. They have folks and families in different areas. who said, I like this concept. What would you recommend them do as a first step? Is it to maybe not just give, but is there a way they can volunteer or partner? How could you, if somebody's saying, I really believe in what they're doing and I'd like to be a part, how do I do that?
Yeah. Well, I think the easiest one is look at our website. Go there, foodforthepoor.org, and start to learn.
Say that one more time slow.
Yeah, foodforthepoor.org.
Got it.
Thank you.
Got it.
Just so that you can familiarize yourself with some of the things we're talking about, the breadth of these programs
Right.
and the countries that we serve, and let's be honest. These countries, the degree of difficulty to get stuff done, you need to learn about how we do it, so that you can have confidence.
If somebody wants to join you on a trip on one of these, I'm sure you have a vetting process. Can they get to your website and then look you up and say, I would like to?
You'll find a missions page, and you can see what you have open missions, and and if we got a group that wants to go down, we can organize that too. So the reason I'm here at Food for the Poor is because I went on a mission trip to Haiti in 2009. It changed my life.
Yeah.
I guarantee for everybody, and I mean absolutely everybody who goes on a mission trip with us, your life will be changed.
Totally agree.
Now, you may not quit your job and come do what I did.
Right.
I'm not looking for someone else to take over my job right now. I want to keep doing this. But the point is that you can't unsee what you see.
Right.
You will want to react. So I hope, my prayer is that Food for the Poor gives you that mechanism to react through us. So we believe we have 5 guiding principles. One of them is stewardship.
Yeah.
So that is what it's about. That you can see what we do, that you can trust in what we do, and if you come and see what we do, you'll know how much help is needed.
Totally agree with you. Like you said, even if you don't change vocations, something happens when you go on a mission trip of this type that is life-changing. Yeah. And for everybody, it's different. It may have been something different for me when I did my first mission trip. I went to Africa and just totally wrecked me, but then built me up better afterwards. Other people, even my own children that I've sent to different countries as they were growing up, they came back with a different experience, but it's unique to them. And I think if people will step outside themselves and they will let themselves be vulnerable to help somebody else, something will change. Yeah. And you don't want to predict it because you don't know, but I guarantee you something will change.
Well, I go on lots of mission trips with generous supporters, and every night we do a moment of reflection. So we go around the room. So if there's 15 of us, everyone gives a reflection on what they experienced, and it is so powerful. And I'm pretty certain I can say this. I don't think a single one of those evenings didn't end with tears, right? Yeah. Because it's such an emotional response. Yeah. This is humanity at a level that you can't even imagine how you could survive yourself, and yet the people we're engaging with and trying to help somehow found a way to get through this absolutely abject poverty. Yeah. And so it's the experience of the mission trip. It's not just what you see, but how you feel, and then how you work with that to find out what your particular response should be. And everybody, as you say, has a different response.
If you just open yourself up. And, I kind of want to close with this today, is we in our culture, Western culture, tend to be event-driven, that we want to help people based on events. And instead of it being a lifestyle, I think really where we need to be is looking for those people all the time. How in my daily life, even without going in a different country, how wherever I am, can I help somebody meet a need that they have? And I think a lot of times culturally, we are event-driven, and we shouldn't be. We should be heart-driven. And if you do that, you will see people that have needs everywhere you go. Yeah. A good friend of mine said one time he was raising money, and he said this, he said, don't give till it hurts, give till it helps, And he said, but if you live in that, he said, you don't have to pray about everything. If you see a need, just meet it. You don't have to step back and recuse yourself in a time of solitude. If somebody needs something and they need help and you can do it, just do it right then. And I think what I would like for those of you that are watching or listening to us today, I think he's made a very good case that this is more than event-driven, even though it's based on events, right? But it is more a condition of the heart.
It is.
When you say condition of the heart, a lifestyle,
true love
that that we can help our fellow man. And so today, if you've heard us, Ed, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Foodforthepoor.org. Make sure you go there, take a look at them. And then if you feel led to, contact them, see how you can be a part of what they're doing. If nothing else, if you know who God is and you're a believer and God is in your heart, pray for them. If you're a person of prayer, person of faith, please pray for them. They definitely need that. A lot of places they go, the circumstances can get very tenuous based on the world situation, the government situation, and everything else. And people that don't have things are very desperate. If you don't have food and you don't have where to go, you get desperate. Yeah. And you will do things that you wouldn't normally do. So they go to these areas. They do that great work. And I would challenge you, look and reflect in your life. I challenged my staff yesterday. It's easy for us to compare ourselves with people that do or have more, but very seldom do we compare ourselves with people that do or have less. So today, as you're listening and watching this, compare yourself to those that have less. What can you do, and how can you serve? And we're so glad to have you today, Ed. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
And this is part of what we do at Reestablishment. We're here to reestablish those basic principles, those basic things of life that will help you take your life to a better level. And we'll see you next time.
Raise your hands up. Raise it up. Reestablishment. Leave not incomplete. Let's talk about it from A to Z.
Second nature. So I go to Bible college and I feel like I want to be doing.
This episode is brought to you by Soul Fit Retreats. Soul Fit Retreats are life-changing experiences for the mind, body, and spirit. Each retreat is a unique combination of faith, health, fitness, and fun. Join the welcoming community for a journey that will empower you, encourage you, and challenge you to become the best version of yourself. Visit soulfitretreats.com today.